Welcome everybody. Another episode of The Secret Sauce. We are visiting with Bryan VantHof today. He is a broker for Minnesota and Florida with the RE/MAX Advantage Plus brand.
Yep.
So we're so excited to have you here.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about your journey toward real estate. I know we were just discussing a little bit about, different states and all of that, but you've been in the business for...
This will be my 21st year.
Wow.
So back in 2003, I was working as a securities trader downtown at RBC Dane Rauscher at the time.
Oh.
And my degree is in finance with minor in economics. So in college, my freshman year, I walked into a securities trading firm and said, hey, I'm looking for a job. And so, 1992, I started working at a brokerage firm in St. Cloud because I thought that was kind of my future. I wanted to be involved in investments. I wanted to be in the stock market. I kind of, that was interesting to me at the time. So I graduated from St. Cloud State in 96, kind of stayed with the financial services industry. And then 2002, I moved to RBC Dane Rauscher as a securities trader. And then 2003, they decided they wanted to relocate our portion of the trading desk to Tampa, Florida. Now, looking back, maybe I should have taken that. But at the time, I was like, I got a new family coming, I got a new child coming, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I had some friends who were doing well with RE/MAX as real estate agents, and I thought, I can do just as well as they can, or at least we'll see how well I can do. And so 2003, they cut off my position at RBC Dane Rauscher, and I thought, well, let's just try real estate.
Let's move into that.
Because it kind of flows with what my experience was. I like to work with numbers. I like to work with customers. I like to solve problems for people. It really in the securities industry, we were dealing with $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 investments. I'm like, it's very impersonal. Whereas getting into the real estate side of it was, I'm dealing with people's dreams, but then they're spending a lot more money. So I'm trying to help them with their finances in a different way than I was before, and something that maybe is more emotionally impactful for them.
Right, and no doubt it's the perfect resume coming from the finance to, the real estate, but that I totally get is that people connection and to be able to help.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do every day of my job as well as director, so of training and development and that is, that if that's your jam, if people are your, you want to be helping and you want to be connecting with people in a personal way and helping them grow and all of that, that's the perfect.
It is. This can be in a way, this can be a very selfish business, but if you want your business to be selfish, I think you can't make that next step. This is, selfishness can kind of wear off on people and you don't get those referrals. But if you're there to serve, if you're there to have that servant heart, if you know that you are here to help people, and this isn't just a job where you're looking for a paycheck, you're in the wrong business if you think it's just a paycheck.
Yeah. And I would actually say that's really any role you take. You should be have that servant leader. I'm all about that as well. I mean, to try to help somebody and be able to see them find success is amazing.
It's enjoyable. And then sometimes it's just a matter of just being quiet and listening, because
you got to be a good listener.
You got to be a good listener, because I go into some showings and I'm maybe at an open house and another agent shows up with their clients, and the agent is trying to not let them basically look at the house. They just want to talk through everything, and the buyers just kind of want to be there. They want to absorb. They want to take it in, and sometimes it just is a matter of just being quiet and letting a client absorb it, understand it, and then just having a better conversation. I just had one situation where a buyer and I went through a commercial property, and the owner was there, and he wanted to really, really sell it, and she just wanted to look at it. She just wanted to take time, absorb, and understand, and him talking too much didn't allow her to do that. So you got to know who your client is a little bit too, and just understand who they are and what they want, and sometimes they want to be able to use you as a sounding board.
And having that ability to read the room is so crucial. I have no doubt for your role. I know that isn't a lot of stuff that we lead here to at Trademark. It's like, you gotta, one, listen, right? And then also just read the room as to people's needs and how their anxiety level is, and if they're feeling kinda, agitated or whatever. So, and real estate is a huge emotional, I mean, we get that every day. It's an emotional experience for people. We see it at the table. You see it when you're, they're signing the purchase agreement, they're, looking at houses. I mean, it's a huge emotional responsibility to handle sometimes, for sure.
Very much so. And you can't be a panicker either. You do have to have a level of, if you have a level of calmness in your voice, it's going to be able to go to them and they know that somebody's by their side helping them, and there's going to be a way to get through that emotional roller coaster, because buying and selling a house is one of the top 5 most stressful things people go through.
So what do you feel is the biggest factor that's helped you be successful? Is there one? Is there a couple? Maybe?
I mean, certainly the biggest factor that helps me be successful is I almost to a fault, and my kids will say this, is I like to ask people questions. They're like, my kids are saying, "Why are you asking that question, Dad? Why do people don't want to share that information." People will share whatever. If you ask questions, and if you're curious about people, if you're curious about situations, if you want to learn about just all the things that go on in your business, I think that's kind of the biggest thing, is having a level of curiosity. Be willing to be somebody who's willing to ask questions and not afraid to ask the questions, because people will share. There's no, people may think that in today's day and age that we don't want to share information, but everybody wants to connect on a personal level of some sort.
Yes.
And sitting in front of people asking questions, then sometimes they get taken aback, like, why are you asking that question? But I have just a curiosity about what's going on in the world, and I like to just know, and I like to ask those questions, and I don't like to be left in the dark. So I don't like to guess. I just rather ask the question and know. And by asking questions and being curious, I think that goes a long ways in this business to helping your client get to where they want to go.
Oh, for sure. I think that's a huge thing, is to be curious, because you're obviously understanding every little nuance that they're thinking about too, and I think most people appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I do. If somebody asks me a question, I'm more than happy to say, I don't like that, or this is what I want to do. You gotta kind of own your truth. I'm kind of about that. I know some people aren't, not as maybe as bold or whatever, but asking those questions that in a careful and calm manner, like you said, you can't be the panic attack person,
Because good questions lead to better questions, and then you start to learn more and understand more, and you can help your client better. And
right.
It's just you got to start with, "Hi, my name is Bryan," and then go from there.
Pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
Pretty simple. What are your success habits? Do you have anything that you start out your day with, your week, your month? Do you have something you do every year? Kind of what are those?
My habits are, I'm up at 5:30 or 6 o'clock every morning. Our dog happens to be on the strict timeline of pawing at my bed at 6 a.m. So I know that I don't have an alarm clock. My dog.
The dog is the alarm clock. What kind of dog do you have?
A little Shih Tzu Maltese mix.
Oh.
Yeah, little fluffy one.
Cute.
But so I'm very consistent on when I get up in the morning. I'll walk the dog, and then I'll come home. I'll get on the computer, because I find that for the first couple of hours, let's say I'm on the computer by 6:30, I have about 2 hours of really quiet time where I can get through a lot of the busy work that I would usually have during the day, where I'm creating my list of things to do. I'm checking through the list of things to do. I'm looking through my email lists of client searches that I've set up, because I tend to look through my client searches as well, not just let them look through it and then contact me. So every morning I'm just kind of taking a good 2 hours of just quiet time and making sure I'm getting all of the busy work done, because at 8:30 my day, I don't know what the rest of my day is gonna bring, because every day is a little bit different with the speed of the market, with clients calling and say, hey, I wanna sell my house, or after 8:30, it's just chaos, typically, for me.
Yeah.
I try to time block from 8:30 to say 10 o'clock, where I'm contacting clients, sending out emails, doing that type of thing. But I also kind of sometimes move that to that first 2-hour block where I'm sending out emails to clients and reaching out that way, and just prioritizing my schedule and just getting things done. I think a lot of agents get distracted during the day because they don't have a set time where they can take care of the little things that'll make the other things a lot easier to deal with.
I think it's so important that, for one, seizing the moments throughout the day, but that time blocking, I have found that to be so essential in my role as well, is taking it, put it into my calendar every day, from this hour to this hour. This is for me time, this is for my growth time, this is for my investigation on whatever I want to, whatever I want to work on for the team that benefits the team. So yeah, no, I love that. I mean, that's a great habit to have. So what do you feel are maybe some mistakes, detours that have happened along the way that?
Yeah, I think the mistakes that have come in, and I think most agents are guilty of it, is not letting your marketing strategies work for you. Agents are agents where they're going after that next shiny, cool marketing piece, and then every 6 months they're kind of switching to something new, or they're buying a new lead system, and they don't give the one that they have enough time to really develop. Because and I was guilty of this, and in certain cases maybe I still am, but I think what we as agents need to really consider, and really what we need to do, is there's a million different ways to do this business, but you have to find 1 or 2 that you're really good at, because if you're trying to do 5 or 10 or 15 different things, you're going to get bogged down, and you're going to get frustrated, and you're going to spend about half the time that you should on an individual project or an individual marketing thing. I mean, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on billboards, but I was so busy doing other things that I didn't have time to concentrate on making that work. I was spending money on Realtor.com, but again, doing other things that were more profitable for me, and then I ignored the Realtor.com stuff, and it didn't work for me. So you need to pick 1 to 2 things that work well for you, because that's going to be your bread and butter. And that's what I've learned over the years. Those are some of the mistakes that I think I've found.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it takes some time to develop those. It does. And we don't have patience anymore. It seems like, we want things like right now. So
no magic bullet.
Yeah, developing that need to, or changing that need to just like have it happen right away.
Yep.
But it is that commitment. It's like, pick those 2 things in your wheelhouse that you really shine at. And just kind of go for it, but you got to commit to them. It's all about that commitment for sure. So what do you feel has been one of the hardest decisions you've had to make in your career in real estate?
One of the hardest decisions, well, going into it, quite honestly, because we go through peaks and valleys in this business. You see things where 1 month you're eating steak every day, and one month you're eating hot dogs and mac and cheese every month. So I think that's the hardest part in this business, especially when we've had such a dramatic change from where we were over the past couple of years, where things have in the industry, they've dropped off by 40%, 30 to 40% in some cases. So just having that level of uncertainty in the industry can be very frustrating. But if you can budget properly, if you can set yourself up on this is how much I want to pay myself every year, and then I'm going to set the rest aside for a rainy day. If you can do some of that stuff, I think that can be very helpful in smoothing out the peaks and valleys in this business. But yeah, I think that would be kind of the thing that frustrates me the most with this business.
Yeah.
Lack of consistency.
Well, and it's really hard to, even though, and I've been in the business since '86 off and on, so it's like you see those peaks and valleys, and even though real estate is peaks and valleys, it doesn't get any easier
No.
when it comes around, and especially like you said, just coming off of, 2-3 years of just crazy stuff's dropping in your lap basically, and people are knocking down your door every single day to sign up for a house or whatever. It's crazy. It's a total mindset that you'd kind of have to just be, it's that patience thing, I guess. You have to just be patient and be clear-minded on, this is the goal, and let's just keep working toward the goal. Commit to working toward the goal. So what do you feel is the best advice that you could give someone?
Be curious. I think that's the best advice that I would give somebody if you, with anything, whether it's sales or any role that you're in. Be curious about others, be curious about people, be curious about the world around you. Don't put blinders on and just think that this is the way that things have to be done. As I mentioned earlier, there's a million different ways that you can do this business, but there's a million different ways you can do just about any business, whether it is sales or whether it's whatever other role you want to think about. But just having a curiosity of what's going on in the world around you, and knowing at least a little bit about, I know my role as a real estate agent and what my buyers and sellers do, but I also want to know pretty in depth what my lenders are doing. I want to know in depth what my title people are doing, because my buyer, my seller, if I have a title issue, they'll talk to you, but they're going to want me to translate. They'll talk to my lender, but they're going to want me to translate. What did he say in English? What did she say in English? So having a curiosity and being curious about everything involved in this industry. I know some, even inspections, I go to my inspections. I'm curious about what my inspectors say, because it helps me when I'm just on showings with clients, knowing what the inspectors are going to look at. But there's some agents who will not go to their inspections because they're worried about the risk associated with being held liable if something gets found out after closing. I've heard agents tell me stories about their licenses being at risk because they told the client one thing and something else showed up. So I'm just curious about everything in this industry. I want to know a little bit about everything. If you remember Cheers, I'm kind of like the Cliff Clavin of real estate. So I just want to know a little bit about everything and be dangerous.
That's awesome. Well, and it's so awesome to hear, because you do have those people that are just like, well, I'm just going to let you handle that. You're somebody that obviously sounds like, I want to learn from you, I want to learn from this person, and it only makes you a better broker, agent, person, because you have all that experience and you really want to, genuinely want to learn what other people are doing. So if you could start all over again, what is something that you may do differently? You would have moved to Tampa a long time ago.
Right, exactly.
You're back. You're back already.
What would I do differently? That's tough. I think the thing that I would do differently would be not a lot, quite honestly. I mean, there is certain things. I going into this business, I think the thing that I would do differently, going into the business, just as in any kind of rookie role, you think you have to be a certain way to do the job, and sometimes you come off as, and that's a disingenuous way to start. So I think maybe what I would have done differently coming into it is, I would have just been a little bit less focused on trying to be somebody else and being somebody that I'm not, where I would have just been myself a little bit more early on. And it took me a while to realize that I can wear shorts and a polo to do this business, and people will still trust you, and people will still find buyers, and they'll still come work with you, as long as you have the expertise and you can build those relationships. Be yourself. That's huge in all aspects of life.
Love that authenticity. And I think even more so now, it seems like that is just what people want to see. They want to see the messy hair, they want to see the shorts, they want to see somebody that they feel comfortable with. And really, in a relationship, and even in a business relationship, people have to like you first. and then they want to hear about what you're doing
Yeah.
for them, you know. And it's so important, and it, you know, you're just like hitting the nail on the head for me, because I feel that way as well with the relationships and being authentic and just coming as you are.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
professional, but you know, coming as you are, just be
Yeah.
honest about everything that you're doing. So that's
You'll
awesome.
feel a lot better about yourself by being authentic.
Okay, so what is one change that someone could make right now to get closer to their success?
One change somebody could make right now to get closer to their success. Well, if you're not making daily lists that you can check off to say I accomplished this, this, and this today, if you're just going through your day kind of on a winding path with no actual goal, I think one thing that you could change about it is set yourself up on some daily goals, so that you can have a path. You can go to a training session if you need help with that. I just think having a to-do list on a day-to-day basis, as opposed to waking up and going, okay, what am I going to do today, and then floating through the day, is not a way to succeed. Have that list of things to do. Write it down so that I have to write things down. Otherwise, sometimes otherwise I'll forget. So
that's me.
If I write it down, it's on my list. I know I have to accomplish it. I've got a list of 10 things that I want to cross off today. Make that list.
And how good does it feel when you start checking things off your list? I mean, I know,
awesome.
Even talking to the team in some few meetings that I've had lately, every single one of them said, at the end of the day, like one person saves their exam sheets, one person checks all over their tasks again, and they've checked them off at the end of the day, and that's the accomplishment of, ooh, I did this today. This is like so awesome.
Yeah.
This is the high of my day to do that. And I think once you start doing that, it only builds more traction into other things that can help you be productive and keep you moving forward, even on days when I don't really feel like doing this today. You know?
For me, those checklists are the thing that I dread the most is forgetting to contact a client. And when I say I'm going to contact them, because to me that's embarrassing if I miss that.
Sure.
So if I don't write that down and I forget, I feel terrible.
Yeah.
So if I write it down, then it reminds me I have to call this person, I have to do this, and it just keeps you more, I think, to me, more kind of emotionally centered, and it keeps you from regrets.
Yeah, I like that emotionally centered thing. I think that is huge.
Yeah.
Never heard it described like that before, so that is very cool. Well, I want to thank you, Bryan, for sitting down with us today.
No problem.
This has been great. Love talking to you and get to know you a little bit better.
Appreciate that.
So thank you, my friends, and we'll see you next time. And that's the secret sauce.